All right, everybody, and we are live on this beautiful. Oh, hold on, I know the date. No, I have to look. September 17th. It's a Wednesday. I'll never get it. I don't even know why I included it in my intro anymore, but I just feel like I have to for those watching after the fact. It's a lovely Wednesday here in Ontario, Canada, and we are in for our traditional Wednesday writing sprints. We have three 20-minute sprints lined up with 5-minute breaks in between, starting with a 5-minute introduction, warm up, get to know everybody, see how everyone's doing session. I see the chat's been a bumping, so let me turn over to that, see what's going on. You can find the links to the sprints down below me in the description, and then linked from sprint to sprint if you want to join me over in wordsprints.org. Pro tip, if you haven't used it yet, WordSprints uses the same like writing client, writing interface, writing system as Dabble, which means you have the typewriter scrolling in it. It's smooth, it's pretty, it's the best. So if you aren't writing in the sprints wordsprints.org session with me, why aren't you? Let's see what's going on in the chat. I see Elena got here real early, gave us some updates on life and the book specifically, which is awesome. Great job, Elena. Ashley is here. Been having a rough couple days, but I hope you're feeling better. Ashley, I assume since you're here, you are feeling better. Not just because you're here, but since you're here. David's here as well, and Sarah's here. Hello, hello, everyone. Aaron is here. Hello. Emily and Iva. Hello. Hello, everybody. NJ, hello, hail. Excellent. Okay. Before I dive too deep into anything, let me know what you're working on in the chat today. I am coming up to the end of the second act in my current work in progress. I am more or less on track to have this draft done by the end of the month if I keep at it, which is good because come the start of October, we are pivoting to the 60-day novel challenge. And I'll talk a little bit about that in between sprints today. And I'm talking to Abby more about it, about the community side of it after we're done sprints, getting everything in their last places. And I think, ask for forgiveness, not permission style. I think we'll have the community space open tomorrow, if not tomorrow, Friday, but I'm going to push for tomorrow, to start getting our ducks in a row, to start getting everyone hyped up, excited, get your mind where it needs to be to write a novel from idea to finished first draft in 60 days. I'm very, very pumped. Ashley's working on your feminist sci-fi novel, which you're planning as your debut novel. Awesome. I can't wait to hear more about it as it develops. Sarah, in yesterday's sprint, I got my sticky chapter going again. Awesome. Let that momentum keep going. Elena, a chapter about the past of my main character of the Las Vegas Chronicle. Fantastic. And NJ, a Batman fanfic and lesson plan for your group today. That is awesome. Can't wait to see everything else rolling in. We got a minute and 45 seconds-ish by the time you hear me say that. So if you are a Dabble Academy member, being either in Dabble Premium or getting access to Dabble Academy directly, it is World Building Wednesday today, or one Wednesday a month where I get to just geek out over a world building topic. And today's topic was economy, and which might sound boring. I'm in a mood today, I think. Might sound boring, but it is far from it because a little bit of insight. Economy in world building is not just about money. It can just be about money, but it goes a lot deeper than that and can be a real big chunk of your plot, or a big turning point, big source of tension, a big source of character development if you let it. I can't give away everything because that's what the Academy is for, so go ahead and read that or get access if you don't have it yet. But that's what went up today, and I was very happy with it. We have 45 seconds before we start here. Let me double check on the chat here. David's still drafting your choose your own adventure story. You're at about 34,000 words so far. That's fantastic, David. How big are you aiming for? Ashley has an idea for a kids series called The Queer Adventures of LGBTQ Superstars. That's awesome. And Emily, I'll just be doing some reflective writing today. Do you want to let yourself roam free until October? I like that. Give yourself that flexibility so you can really focus in on what you want to create come October. I will also, since some people like this, I hear the beeping. That means we're starting, but I'm dropping the link into the Spotify playlist that I'm listening to today. No pressure. You don't have to. Anyway, happy writing, everyone. See you in 20 minutes. All right, everybody. That is our first sprint finished. How did everybody do? Let me pause my music so that I can focus. I got 867 words written that time around. Coming up at the end of this chapter, um, and let's see. Aaron got 52 done. Aaron's revising. I know that for sure. So excellent. Ashley got 815. Fantastic. Great job. As more and more things are coming in, Sarah got 208. Awesome. David 820. Fantastic. Gonna hit that 50,000 word mark pretty quickly if you're pumping in those numbers every 20 minutes. Um, so the 60-day novel challenge will be starting in October, and again, we'll have some more information up hopefully tomorrow, but definitely next week. Like this time next week, that's all we'll be talking about. But for those who don't know, who are joining us live now or watching this afterwards, the 60-day novel challenge is something that we launched last year, which is a 2-month long challenge that walks through the prep phase of coming up with a novel, brainstorming it, coming up with your characters, coming up with conflict, organizing everything, thinking about theme if you want to, and then writing 50,000 words in November. It was something that we put on because last November during NaNoWriMo, we were the sponsors, the headline sponsors of Nano during Nano. Now Nano is no more. The organization had to file for bankruptcy. It's not a thing anymore, and so a lot of people are doing their own versions of NaNoWriMo this year. We are doing the same thing we did last year. It was cool partnering with Nano and doing a ton of content in November last year, and that's how a lot of the people who are regulars now, who watch our videos, who come to our live streams, who are part of the Dabble ecosystem now. That's how a lot of people found us, but we're of course going to do it again. And it may not be as extravagant as last year. We're still going to put a ton of effort into it. I've been working my tail off getting stuff ready for it. But Nano, we don't have the powerhouse that was NaNoWriMo accompanying us in November. So what does that mean for everybody here? It means that we are running the challenge, that we are going to have the same, not the same, a slightly revised template as we did last year. That is a 10,000 plus word Dabble template to help you go through all of this. A little change the format this year. Every week you're going to get a lesson video on Monday, and then Hank, Abby, and I are going to do a live stream Q&A reflection discussion session on the Thursday of each week to talk about stuff that you've done, answer any questions you might have, figure out what your next steps are, all that kind of stuff. So a little bit more at your own pace to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. You'll have the homework, as I've been calling it, to do to get yourself ready, and then we have a discussion every Thursday. And then come November, we're going to have writing sprints just like this one every single day from Monday to Friday. Fenrir is asking, will there be a coupon again if someone participates with the challenge? And yes, there will be. I don't know the exact numbers. We're still waiting on that. Again, things are a little bit up in the air because Nano isn't a thing anymore. And so traditionally, a little behind the scenes peek here. How much time do I have actually? We have a minute. Dabble's been sponsoring Nano since Dabble was a thing, since year one. Right. And so it's always been really great for us because we get to meet so many new authors, like Aaron starting halfway through October, Julia saying Nano is how I found Dabble. It's fantastic, right? It's always been good. So without that source of new authors this year, we just need to be mindful of what we're doing. Still doing all the amazing content, still doing a bunch of great events. Going to be doing a bonus workshop to kick off October. More about mindset and goal setting and whatnot. If you've been around, it'll probably feel a little familiar to you. Sarah found us via Nano last year too. Yeah. So we just need to figure out the particulars of the coupon. But of course, I fought for for there to be a deal for participants. It wasn't a hard fight, right? That makes it sound like there was pushback. No, I just made sure that as we're planning this, hey, this is something that people look forward to. This is something that gets people motivated to write. So we got to reward them for a job well done. I'm all about those rewards. I fell behind on the chat, but I see that we have 10 seconds left before our next sprint. I'm going to share my screen again, and we'll catch up on everything. Kara also found us through Nano. Okay, excellent. Okay, Happy writing. We'll reconvene in 20 minutes. All right, everyone. That is our second sprint of the day done. There we go. Music is muted. I got 7:33 that time around, less than the time before, but I had a change of chapter and I need to review my notes, make sure I want to do everything that I want to do. I'm going to take everything that I've written so far, paste it into the next sprint, and then I'll pop my face up like this. Let's how did everybody do? Stephanie, hi Stephanie. Got 368. Fantastic. That's a great word count. And as everyone's filling in on their successes here, I'm going to scroll back up, see what I missed as I was yapping during the last break. Um Sarah's excited that Dabble's doing the challenge this year. Excellent. I'm very excited for it. It's I wish we could have talked about it earlier, but with Nano doing their surprise announcement a few months ago and us potentially partnering with other people that has kind of fallen through, it is what it is. We're here. We're going to have a great time. More details coming up real soon. Um, but oh, Kara had to go to a horror webinar on Zoom. That's very cool. I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye before, but if you're watching this afterwards, Kara, thanks for stopping by. Um, Ashley's in pain from feeding the cats. I hope the sprint helps. And David found us through Nano last year. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people who are now regulars at these events found us through Nano, and that's why we were so happy with it, right? That's why it's such a success for us because we have so many new faces, not just people that enjoy Dabble, which I mean, they pay me to do marketing stuff, but like, I have always thought Dabble's the best novel writing software out there. And I used it before I started working for Dabble. So I'm glad to see more people are using Dabble because I think it's a net benefit for them. But I'm also glad to see more people showing up to events like this and participating in the other events we do and taking advantage of the educational resources that we have to just get you closer to your author goals. Like at the end of the day, I said this before, I'm not going to get too sappy right now, but that's what my job is about. It's making sure that you can do what you want to do, that you can achieve the goals you want to achieve. And so that's what makes me extra happy about seeing all the folks that have joined us from Nano last year and in the time since, is that it means you get access to that stuff. It means you are taking those steps, and you've been here for a year now, which means that you've been consistently writing and growing stronger as an author. All right, NJ students may be joining the challenge as well. That's fantastic. I'm looking forward to having them there. And yep, Stephanie got 368. Sarah got 178. Awesome. David got 947, almost at the 4 digits, my friend. Ashley got 712, starting a new chapter, and this one's going to be very hard to write as it's going to be very dark. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. NJ got 375, and Julia did some brainstorming that session. That's awesome. Okay, what else can I share since I still have your attention for a couple minutes? I'm not really sure. What I would encourage you to do is think about what you want to write for the 60-day challenge, even if you don't want to write a story from beginning to end in November and do the planning in October. I encourage you to still follow along in the challenge. Again, it is an educational resource. The whole point is to get you to think about things, to plan things, to understand what goes into a story that you might not have thought of before. There will be those educational like lesson videos that we're going to put up every Monday. And they're ranging from 15 to 25 minutes long. I'm trying to keep them on the shorter end, right? But but like the character one is long and might take a couple sittings to get through. Um, but yeah, I encourage you to join us and join us at the community at w.com, because there's just a bunch of cool stuff going on there. And writing can feel like a really solitary endeavor, which is why I love doing these kinds of sprints, because we have all the folks in the chat here supporting one another, chatting back and forth, the sharing our time writing. It's very, very cool. David saying that getting Doug-like figures in your writing is a very high compliment. Appreciate it. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay, so we have about 30 seconds left. I don't really have a Dugget for you this week, at least not one that immediately came to mind. No, you know what? I think I do have one, and it has to do with exposition. And maybe I will share that after the break or after the sprint, sorry, because we have 15 seconds until the sprint starts. So someone remind me to share a Dugget about exposition, to share a little thing that I've been thinking about lately when we get back. But otherwise, we have uh, 5 seconds here before it starts. So This is our last sprint of the day. Thank you for joining me so far, and happy writing for the next 20 minutes. All right. So ends our last sprint of the day. First off, big thanks for everyone for joining me for all three of those sprints, or however many sprints you could join for. And if you're watching after the fact, then great job for making it through this far. Let me know how many words you wrote in total today, or just how much time and effort you put in total. For me, I'm just shy of 2,400 words, which is a resounding success. I'm sorry, I have hiccups too that started popping up during that sprint. Stephanie got 413. NJ saying, thanks, Doug. You're very welcome, NJ. I am more than happy to be here. One of the things that I was going to mention, the Dugget, about exposition. And we just did an exposition workshop in Dabble U Academy. So, if you're wondering about exposition, you want to get better at it, you can go and check that out. But the thing that I want to bring up is that I was listening to a book, and I finished it, and the book had a really cool magic system, had decent characters, had an okay plot. Overall, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5. Very, very much carried by the magic system. The biggest thing is that this complex and very cool magic system that the author put into the book was very, very cool. Okay, it was very cool, but really dragged down the rest of the book because there were so many interjections to explain how it worked, and that made it so that I don't want to listen to the second book now. And so I guess the Dugget is when you have something complex to explain, like a magic system, like technology in sci-fi, like a character backstory, use something first. You can use something like the plot grid to figure out exactly when and where you are sprinkling that information in, but make sure you are sprinkling it in. And if you go through during your revisions and you find that you're doing big info dumps like that, you might need to do more than just rework some prose that you have put in there. It might not be as easy as taking two big paragraphs of text and splitting them up into 4 or 5 lines that you sprinkle across 2 chapters. It might mean you need to rework your story a little bit so that that information is fed or discovered more organically than it currently is. I'm really bummed because the magic system in this was very cool, and I want to know more about it. I want to experience it more, but just the writing suffered so much from so many exposition dumps, so many chunks of just stuff explaining how things worked in this world, how different families worked, how the magic worked, what London is like. Like, it was just too much. So be wary of info dumps and just be aware that the easiest fix isn't always the best fix. It sometimes can be. Most info dumps can be solved by spreading out description over, a chapter or two. But sometimes you might have to hit the drawing board again when you're doing revisions and do a more substantial rewrite, a little change of the plot potentially to make the info dumps work. Let me check in on the chat here. I see that David broke that 4-digit mark. Great job, David. Fantastic. I don't think I've seen you do that before. So if it's the first time, bravo. Ashley got 564 and a total of just shy of 2,100 with an extra couple hundred that came in, or 150 that came in earlier. That's awesome. Sarah got 470. Pretty good for you. I think just pretty good in general. So great job. Okay. Yeah, Ashley, that can be difficult to write. And I have, like I said before, I have instances, because I write darker stuff too, and I know you do as well. But I have instances where I'm like, okay, I need to take a break from this writing. It is too dark. And sometimes that means jumping ahead in a scene. Sometimes it means just getting up, going for a walk or something, watching something that's more lighthearted. And Stephanie says, out of the 2 sessions, I got 781 words. Add that to my previous 747 from this morning. Your grand total for today is 1528. I think that is absolutely fantastic. I should really get something on hand to be like, hey, if you write, 500 words every Monday to Friday, well, we know it's 2,500 words a week. That's 10,000 words a month at a minimum. You can definitely write a book on 500 words Monday to Friday. But I should get some stats, 1,500 words, 2,000 words, 200 words, what that looks like. Actually saying, just check the world building thing today and it says it's scheduled for 2 days from now. That's weird because people have commented on it. I will double check on that, Ashley. Thank you for letting me know that something is amiss. but I'll check in on that afterwards. For now, that is it for me. I have to go and chat with the wonderful Abby about 60-day novel challenge. Keep your eyes open. Head on over to dabbleu.com. Join Dabbleu Campus so that you get to know when we open up the community for that. You can join in on the challenge. That's where we're going to host a lot of discussions, but we'll also be doing stuff here on YouTube. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. You have notifications turned on for our channel. And if you wrote one word or more today, I'd love you to hit that thumbs up. Give me a like for being here. And yeah, thanks for joining me. This has been awesome as always. I will see you all later.